During his speech, the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu criticized Iran, saying that Iran is a terrorist state and an aggressive occupier, as well as threatening Iran militarily if Iran were to establish any military bases in Syria. He also criticized the Syrian government, accused them of killing and starving its own people. Now, these are crimes Israel itself is guilty of. It seems the whole speech was a projection of Israeli paranoia and, aggressive instincts. Adam, how many of those at the UN and beyond do you think bought into his hysterical speech?
Very few, and that's one of the reasons why Netanyahu, who's the greatest liar in modern history, talked about how Israel is open to the world and the world is open to Israel. The truth is that the world is open to the truth about what Israel does more than ever before, and they are articulating it. Countries as diverse as Pakistan and Saudi Arabia, as Syria and Iraq and Turkey, so many countries throughout Africa. Cuba mentioned, Venezuela mentioned it, Russia mentioned it, China mentioned it, so many countries, North Korea mentioned it, mentioned the fact that it's a shame and a disgrace that Palestine has been suffering continually for 70 years. Lavrov said it even at his press conference the following day. So while previous Americans leaders and advisors were psychopaths, while Trump is a megalomaniac, Netanyahu is something even more dangerous. He's conniving. He knows the truth. He knows it very, very well because he's a very intelligent man and he sees the truth every day. But he has perfected lies so well that he's been able to shield himself because his lies are essentially the trigger that fires the bullet of American protection. But the majority of the world, contrary to what the Western media say, didn't talk about the shame of North Korea, but the shame of Israel. People talked about the need for peace on the Korean Peninsula, but they talked about a need for peace in Palestine that was predicated on the intransigence of Israel. So while Netanyahu totally lied, most people didn't buy it. It's quite funny. People are now in certain countries getting arrested by the modern-day secret police, where free speech no longer exists in the Western world for criticizing Israel. So here's my advice to you. Become a foreign minister or head of state outside of Europe in the English-speaking white West, and you can criticize Israel all you want at the United Nations, because it's much more free than Facebook or Twitter.